Can you just talk us through sort of how things have proceeded since the Christmas break, mate?
Well, it's been a great training block. We're quite fortunate, if you call it fortunate, that we got a really long, extended block of training in pre-Christmas. The Noosa camp was outstanding. That gave us a great lead into the Christmas break. And this year, with the new AFL rules, where your players and staff get 3 weeks off, there's a lot left to chance, if you like. So we're really pleased with the way the players handled that 3 weeks. It's something they hadn't seen before. They really needed to sort of test the waters, and we needed to trust them. And to their credit, they've come back in outstanding shape, and they've really bounced into what we've thrown at them so far this week and last. So really pleased. It's one of those ones where you need to empower your players and trust your players, and I'm pleased to say they passed that test with flying colours.
Personally, how have you found things?
I've loved it, to be honest. We got, as I said, a great 6 weeks prior to Christmas, went back, had 3 weeks with the family, and then moved them all over here, and everyone's adjusted really well. It's great to be back here. There's enough old faces, there's enough familiar territory and things around, but there's enough freshness and new as well, just to keep you stimulated and excited. It's been
clearly
good.
Things have changed a little bit since that wonderful day on the wall behind you, but how have things changed, and what are some of the things that you've picked up on?
Oh, look, I think this club, particularly over the last decade, since we clearly had good times here, has been an innovative club. It's a big club. I think sometimes we lose sight of how big this club is. It's a proud club. They do so much right in what is a very, very competitive competition. So, but in terms of there's new faces, new strategies, new business plans. We're working our way into China internationally. There's a lot of good things happening here. It's an exciting place to be. So, look, as I said, it's a really fresh place to come and work as a coach. So yeah, I've been really happy so far.
You've obviously got a lot of experience from a coaching perspective, Brett. What are some of the things that you've tried to instill or bring across as you've joined the Power?
Look, looking from afar, whether I've been in a coaching role at the Bulldogs or whether I've been in a sort of a strategy or opposition role at the Giants, one thing about watching Port Adelaide from afar is they just do so much right. They're really hard to play against. If we were to critique or be really critical and self-assess, there might have been a little bit of conservative type play last year that did serve the club really well. But I still think that there's a little bit of room to move there, and I think you've seen any of our training or heard any of our coaches or players talk. We're looking to just speed things up a little bit, maybe make things a little bit more bold and exciting, and they're only just subtle adjustments on what I was saying is doing a lot right.
When you say bold and exciting, do you mean things like going down the corridor more often rather than kicking out wide, things like that?
Yeah, not really. When you hear those terms, bold, aggressive, exciting, a lot of the time people just instantly go to how you're going to move the ball. It's all parts. It's how you train, it's how you position, it's how you think about using the ball, it's how you defend. So it really needs to filter into everything that you're looking to do, not just when you get the ball in hand. So aggressive, bold, exciting is trying to filter into everything we do.
Is that something you're looking after the defence this season? Something you've tried to work with the defenders who, defence was probably the best part of Port's, structure last season?
Yeah, I think any time we can make our players more stimulated and excited and they can see the bigger picture about if we change this or we alter this is going to impact how we play. The beauty of the guys that play in the back half of the oval here is they're all of great character. Enormous talent, but even more important, enormous character. So they can see that we've got some room to move on how we play, and some subtle adjustments in the way they set up, the way they think, are really going to help us take our game forward.
Can you speak of character in your back line? Is there one bloke in particular who perhaps could lead the club, do you think, down there?
I think there's probably a number. Being probably the newest guy around the club, even though I've got history here, I think it'd be really unfair for me to start labelling individuals, but I can safely say we're in good hands. Wherever the club does happen to land when it comes to captaincy or leaders or groups, I think we're in pretty good shape, particularly in the back half of the ground.
Sorry, what's your view on the co-captaincy? Obviously, it's bit of a growing trend, the Crows yesterday. Do you have a view one way or the other?
I think generally the model that suits your group, whether it be a one-out leader, whether it be a co-captain, or whether it be a group that carries quite a lot of responsibility, I think whatever fits your group. Again, being the newest one into the place, I see a number of guys that could carry it out individually, in partnership, in group. But I think what we will do as a club is we'll give it as much time as we can to make sure that we get the decision right. Often with these decisions, it's the external things that force you into a quicker decision. I think the club's been really strong at looking at an extended view here and a bigger sample size to get exactly what we need.
So do you think you'll have a captain or co-captains, as Vicky mentioned, like leading into the JLT series at the start of March, or do you think you might then delay that, go to the JLT, see how things, roll out, and then sort of make a decision ahead of the premiership?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Good things. One thing about making decisions like captaincy and leadership groups at footy clubs is that it's not one man's decision. It's very much a club decision. And there's so many people we need to collaborate with to get that right. So however long it takes us, whether we do firm it up prior to playing any practice games or JLT, or it takes us even longer, I think it's time well spent.
Will there be a player vote as part of that?
Again, not too sure what the system will be. What I can say is we're trialling guys at training at the moment. You may have seen armbands and different guys nominated just to take different things. So we're trying to get guys some exposure just to see how they handle different scenarios, situations.
Are they your usual suspects type of guys that wear those armbands and trial?
At last count, I think we've probably experimented with maybe 8 to 10. So the group's pretty large. But again, without talking specific names, wherever it falls in amongst that group, we'll be pretty happy.
How did you sum it up with the family and the moment you were telling them you were coming home, so to speak?
I think they know how important this club is to me. My kids some are a little younger than the ones that can remember when I was actually playing. So we've got a couple of Port fans in there that were really happy to get back here. My wife is really pleased to be back here. No problem there. It's obviously a big move when you've got 4 kids, but the club's done everything they can to make sure it's been a really smooth transition. We could probably just tone the weather down a touch if just to help us out a little bit.
When you popped out of that coaching course that you did, I think, last year or whatever, is this a pipe dream to end up back here or in this type of role?
Well, yes and no. The level 4 coaching is a tremendous course. I think it's so much more than a coaching course. It's probably more a manager's course that could probably prepare you for any number of roles. Great initiative from the AFL. I hope it continues. I think any of these roles are exciting, whether you be senior coach, senior assistant, list manager, GM of footy. Footy clubs are exciting places to be. And this is, as a close to the heart type environment for me, just makes it even more special.
You've had a few different roles at clubs. Do you think you've found the role that you like to do much? Do you like this coaching aspect of it or the strategy?
Look, I love the hands-on, back on the tools element to this one. I will look after the back line here, but I'll also take on the role of the club's team defence. So there's a bit more bigger picture stuff in it as well. There is some real satisfaction of being back on the tools. The managerial stuff is also important, the bigger picture stuff I enjoy. But I think we collaborate so well here, you get to cross over so many different boundaries, which I've loved.
What will be different about the team defence?
Well, I think that whole sort of overarching banner, or if you like, tone or concept of bold and aggressive, it flows right through to how we defend and where we win the footy back. The way we defend certainly helps the way we attack. Now, I know I don't want to get too deep into the specifics of that, but we'd like to be a little bit more aggressive where we get it back, how early we win it back, just so our forwards get a nice, clean, pure look at the ball, rather than having to build it up as often as we have in the past from the back half.
That was clearly an issue last year. There's been a fair bit of work done on giving the forwards a bit of an opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was an issue. I just think there's a room for improvement. It obviously served the club really well to be in such a good position at halfway through the year and to have taken down the opponents that we did. It obviously served us well. But I think, like most things, teams are able to counteract anything you do well. So we just need to stay on the move and stay innovative.
How do you assess Ron Burton since he's come to the club? Obviously, defender at Hawthorn. See him sort of playing defence with you guys this season?
Yeah. I think he's a lot more flexible than people give him credit for. I think whilst he's spent most of his time as a defender at Hawthorn, he'll get a different look here. We'll make sure that we stay nice and flexible with him and keep his skill set quite wide. He'll spend, I think, the early stages in the back half or on a wing, but he's a really versatile guy. You've got to remember, he's only a young man. He clearly doesn't know what his best footy looks like or where it's played just yet, so we're happy to explore that with him.
In all your years away, were you surprised that Port didn't have more success?
Oh, not really, and that's certainly not a criticism or negative. What you do learn in this game is how hard it is. I think when you're a naive player running around and winning most weeks, you sort of think this game's pretty easy, and why isn't everyone doing it? It's not until you sort of dig a bit deeper and have, say, the coaching experience that I've had at different clubs that you work out that this is a pretty tough competition. It's equalised for a reason. It makes it very difficult for anyone to stick their neck out and stay out there. I think that the refreshing last 4 or 5 years where we've seen the Bulldogs win and we've seen the Tigers win and now we've seen a big club like West Coast win, it just shows you that expectation has come right up, that every team must make the finals every year. It doesn't matter whether you finish in the bottom 3 last year or the top 3. The expectation competition-wide now is that you improve and you improve quickly.
Did you catch Dwayne Russell's comments about Port Adelaide? Just saying that he felt that since they've started, they in his words, were an average club in terms of how many finals appearances. Sydney's sort of 19 in the last 25 years or so. Port missed the finals more than they've made them. Do you think they're fair comments?
Yeah, look, I didn't catch the comments, so unless that's a direct...
Paraphrasing, that's pretty direct.
Yeah, well...
Average was the term he used.
Yeah, I think Dwayne's a good footy person, with, he's pretty wise in his thoughts, and if they're his, I haven't given them a lot of thought, to be honest. I'm here and now, and our intentions are very clear. We try and make the finals.
But you applied for the Brisbane senior job at the end of 2016, you interviewed with them. Do you still have aspirations to be a senior coach?
Not really. It's not something I think about day to day, I must admit. I think what you do is you get in, you try and do the job you've got right in front of you as best as you possibly can. I had a good discussion with Ken before taking this job around ambition, and look, he's a wise head and someone that I take counsel from whenever I can, and he said to me that he believes ambition's a really strong thing and something that's really important, just even for my job here at Port Adelaide. I mentioned to him that it's not certainly something I'm looking at short term. So yeah, it's a tough one for me to answer. That was right place, right time, right fit for me, Brisbane. Didn't go my way, so you go back to work and you get another experience and you try and get your team into the finals. Just so happens I'm at the team that I love, so it means just even more.
All good.
So just a quick one. Jared Weaver left the track this morning. Obviously being a defender. Did you sort of know what was up with him?
Yeah, so Jared had a little bit of knee soreness out of the early session of the week, so we decided to give him 1 day before we get him back in. It's nothing more sinister than that.
Yeah.
Just quickly, Powell Pepper looks pretty lean, and
he does.
What's happened with him?
I wouldn't want to sell him short on what the numbers are, but I didn't know the guy at all. I've seen him from afar. He looked like a good young prospect. What I saw day one when I arrived was a fit, determined, inspired and exciting young man. He came here, he was winning everything, he was well prepared. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I do hear that perhaps that wasn't the case 12 months ago, so we've got an improved player on our hands. So yeah, really excited.
Any idea how he's dropped kgs?
Yeah, he's dropped weight. He's running better. Obviously, there'd be a cost in that, whether it be strength or power, but we certainly haven't noticed any on the track. He's been really impressive.
He was just managed today, was he? Just with his
yeah.
Well, he obviously played well in the intra-club the match sim stuff last week, but just managed to...
All his work's been fantastic to this point. We can't get them out there every minute of every day, and we've got guys that are in their 30s, we've got guys that are teenagers out here, so we manage them very differently.
Of course.